I had an opportunity when I was between my undergraduate and graduate programs to be part of the core faculty for a summer arts program for kids at St. Paul Academy and Summit School. And the idea was that the students who came to this 5-week art experience would use real artist materials. They wouldn't use dumbed down materials, and they would make real art projects, and they would be taught by real artists. My first project in class, I had spent hours and hours and hours dreaming up what I was going to do. And the students walked in, their hands were kind of like this. And I had clay mounted on the table because I didn't want to waste time getting into a bag of clay. And I cannot remember what the first assignment was that I had dreamed up, but little Annie Messer came to me after 5 minutes, and she had this mashed up thing that looked like a dead ashtray. And she said, "Hi, I'm done. Is it good?" And I'm like, okay, we need to really rethink this. So I instantly became appreciative of how much work it is to structure learning.
Why even do this? It's not for the money, right? It's not. You can, if you just want an income or a career or something, there's probably better ways to do it. But if you really love designing, which I think some people do, I really believe that some people are just born that way. And if you are that kind of person, then I think that part of what I'm trying to do is get people to understand that in themselves, and then come to enjoy it.
I feel that we in the College of Design there's different expectations that our instructors have of us to be a bit more creative than just coming up with, well, here's an answer that fits the criteria. Like, what are other ways you can get to that answer?
All my friends that aren't in architecture, I never see them up this late or working this hard. They always have homework, and they get it. There's like a certain point where they're done, but there's never a point where we're done working here. Like, projects are never finished.
All the steps we go through in ISA, like, you start off with a sketch, an idea. Just you generate as many ideas as you possibly can. And I think that's a good thing in the first place, because then you get everything that's inside your head out on paper, and you can decide what's worth going into. So it's like the second step, and then you just build on that. You keep deciding, what can I add, what can I take away, and you just keep experimenting. And I think you learn what your limitations are, what your material limitations are, just what you're capable of doing. And I think it's the experimentation of ideas and materials, and just how you constantly thinking up new ways of doing things really helps you learn.
I was talking to somebody just yesterday, and we were talking about how wonderful it is when you go into something that you're really almost afraid of doing, and you're like, I'll never be able to get this. And then after going through maybe the whole semester of doing it, and at the end you're like, I don't believe I'm able to do that, without thinking about it now,
I really appreciate when professors, do things that you don't understand, because if you're always doing conventional ways, you never really learn your own way of doing things. And when you're pushed outside of your comfort zone to, explore in a certain way, maybe you realize, hey, this works for me. And in turn, you learn how to learn and learn how to design and learn your own process.
I think when I was a student long ago in a landscape architecture program, I put a lot of value in what I would consider a realistic project, and I think one thing that has kind of changed over my life is to understand the importance of thinking beyond those limits for a student. So that's one way you learn to design, is you don't put the fences around the idea. You allow the student a lot of leeway, and that way ultimately you're innovating. You're not just preparing them like a trade school to do a job. You're actually getting them to think differently and push the boundaries of whatever it is they're doing. If it's landscape architecture, you're only going to get new landscape architecture from people who aren't imitating what's happening in the world already.
I think the most important thing for students to learn is to learn how to learn, because everything we do is different, and you have to be prepared to figure out what do I need to know and how do I find it out and how do I put it to use in what I do, because it's never going to come kind of automatically ready to apply.